All right, we got some pretty breaking news coming even from Newsweek. Trump was right about FBI scramble to assemble Russia evidence after 2016 win. Techs claim. A Federal Bureau of Investigation employee involved in the probe into former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn claimed that President Donald Trump was right while discussing a 2017 intelligence briefing regarding the Russia probe, according to a court filing. The federal court documents filed by Michael Flynn's lawyers in the U.S. District Court of Columbia on Thursday included text message conversations between FBI staffers about former President Barack Obama's intelligence briefing on January 5, 2017. One unnamed FBI employee asked another, "What's the word on Obama's briefing went?" "Don't know, but people here are scrambling for info to support certain things, and it's a madhouse," the FBI colleague replied. Trump was right, still not put together. Why do we do this to ourselves? What is wrong with these people? After Obama's briefing, the then president asked Vice President Joe Biden and FBI Director James Comey to stay behind, along with Deputy Attorney General Sally Yates and National Security Advisor Susan Rice, for a discussion about Flynn, then a Trump campaign advisor. The details of what took place during the meeting has been intensely speculated and debated by both sides of the political aisle. On January 3, 2017, Trump tweeted a suggestion that the Russian hacking briefing was delayed so his opponents could build a case. The president also alleged on numerous occasions that his predecessor engaged in treason. According to Rice and Yates, Obama was confirmed over whether restrictions should be placed on the sharing of classified information with Flynn, the incoming national security advisor at the time. He was being probed by the FBI as part of the Russia investigation which started July 2016. In testimony before the Senate on August 5th, Yates said under oath that Obama and Biden never attempted to influence the FBI's investigation of Flynn. During the meeting, the president, the vice president, the national security advisor did not attempt to in any way to direct or influence any investigations, she said. Flynn's lawyer shared additional text messages by an FBI employee on January 10, 2017, saying that analysts all went and purchased professional liability insurance because they were worried that the whole thing is pretty ugly. And boy, do we know it was super, super ugly. We know the Steele dossier was just a mess. We also got from here, Steele dossier subsource was suspected of spying for Russia, DOJ reveals. And we'll get into that. But yeah, the Steele dossier was just a mess, which is what kicked off everything. And it had nothing in it. Flynn, I think the concern when we got it was that there was a big leak at DOJ and the New York Times, among others, was going to do a piece. The employee wrote, "If that piece comes out and January 20th comes around, the new AG might have some questions. Then yada, 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 we all get screwed." Yeah. Federal employees at all levels often face allegations, complaints, and investigations that carry risk of exposure to liability, and those that deal with the public face the most exposure. Even in cases of basic claims, legal fees, damages, and other costs may run into the hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars, placing employees and their families' financial security at risk, wrote Federal Times, a source of information for senior U.S. government managers. Fortunately, federal employees can protect themselves and preemptively mitigate this risk through federal employee professional liability insurance. Flynn served as Trump's, blah, 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 we know. For 24 days before he resigned in 2017, he pleaded guilty to lying to the FBI about his communications. We also know that he was being targeted. His son was at risk. He didn't want to take that chance. He was thinking about his family. If they're going to target his own son, yeah, they're pretty evil. We've got FBI agent, never was evidence of Russia collusion, but Mueller team had to get Trump goal. It's coming from just the news. An FBI agent who played a role investigating, yeah, we know. Agent William Barnett's interview with Justice Department prosecutors earlier this month provided a bombshell claim that both FBI superiors under Agency Director James Comey and Mueller's team exhibited bias in their pursuit of Trump that upended the normal investigative decisions, tactics, and commitment to pursue evidence neutrally. We know that they're trying to do a coup. We know that we're pretty much in a civil war at this point. We've been in a cultural civil war, political civil war, whatever you want to call it. It might not have been a hot conflict, or so to speak, but there's two political factions, and they're fighting hard right now. And we know that the left has done some very, very, very sneaky tactics. Let's read on. The interview emerged just one day after the Justice Department released text messages showing FBI analysts bought liability insurance in January 2017 because they feared they could be sued for misconduct committed during the Russia probe. Oh, yeah, I'm sure. So I'm sure, of course, they'd all get insurance then if they're going to go into this Russia probe when they know specifically there's absolutely nothing there. Barnett thought that the Trump campaign may have been aware the Russians were attempting to impact the election, but that was far different from the Trump campaign and the Russians having a deal and are working together, quid pro quo. The report of his September 17th interview reads, Barnett. The others joked about how the investigation into collusion could be made into a game, which they referred to as Collusion Clue. In the hypothetical game, investigators were able to choose any character conducting any activity in any location and pair this individual with another character and interpret it as evidence of collusion. Barnett added, with respect to Flynn's phone call with the Russian ambassador in December 2016, Barnett did not believe Flynn was being directed by Trump. Barnett did not believe Flynn had any additional information to provide SCO. Barnett believed the prosecution of Flynn by SCO was used as a means to get Trump. You can read the documents here. And you can see the documents over at Fox News as well. They have all of them, the PDF file that you can grab. So if you want to grab those, do it. Definitely read them. Where was I again? Okay. Barnett described how the top levels of the FBI, including now fired Deputy Director Andrew McCabe, suddenly took over the investigation after Trump won the November 2016 election and continued to keep the case going, even though there was little detail concerning specific evidence of criminal events. Barnett still did not see any evidence of collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russian government, the interview report stated. Barnett was willing to follow any instructions being given by the deputy director as long as it was not a violation of the law. The agent added that he thought the investigation was built on supposition, especially the predicate to investigate Flynn, which he described as not great and not clear. Like the analysts who allegedly bought liability insurance, Barnett said he had reservations that the FBI's conduct of the case might boomerang. Specifically, he feared the pursuit of Trump and Flynn was problematic and could result in an inspector general investigation. And it should. AG Barr needs to start going after them so much harder now. Because we're pretty now sure that the Obama administration could be acting in treason, yeah. Could be acting in treason. Trying to undermine incoming president, trying to get him out of office. And now the vice president of that, same administration is trying to run against Trump. So that almost kind of feels like they made him run so that way he can't be investigated. That's why Trump needs to win. If Biden wins, this will never see the light of day. Never. We'll never know the full truth. We got from Politico. Feds air FBI agents' gripes about Flynn probe. An FBI agent formerly assigned to Special Counsel Robert Mueller's office told Justice Department investigators last week that he believed Lieutenant General Michael Flynn lied to the Bureau to save his job as President Donald Trump's national security advisor, rather than to cover up a nefarious relationship between Trump and Russia. A 13-page summary of an interview with Flynn case agent William Barnett made public in a court filing by prosecutors just before midnight Thursday also revealed that the veteran agent harbored deep doubts and skepticism about the merits of the investigation into Flynn's potential ties with Russia, at least in its early stages, and questioned the Mueller's team tactics in the broader probe of the Trump campaign's contacts with Russians, known as Crossfire Hurricane. And I mean, we know that they're trying to undermine the Trump administration and trying to get him out of office. They've been trying to do it for the last 4 years. They're still trying to. They don't want him to be reelected, of course. So they'll do anything they possibly can to get him out. And we know that. They have no moral justification. Or they have no moral center. They definitely have a moral justification on their side, but it's clearly an evil one. We also have from Politico, the Steele dossier subsource was suspected of spying for Russia, DOJ reveals. The primary subsource that former British spy Christopher Steele used to compile his anti-Trump dossier in 2016 was the subject of an FBI counterintelligence investigation a decade ago. according to details authorized for release by U.S. Attorney John Durham, who was investigating the origins of the FBI's Trump-Russia probe. Allies of President Donald Trump have speculated for months that Durham's review, ordered by Attorney General William Barr, will end with top Obama-era officials in handcuffs. They have cast the Russia investigation as fundamentally illegitimate, which it is, arguing that surveillance warrants that drew on the so-called Steele dossier discredit the probe as a whole, which they do. The Steele dossier isn't even about that. Like I said, the Steele dossier has nothing to do with any of this. They tried to link anything they possibly could, and it's one of the most flimsiest excuses ever to try to get a sitting president impeached. Or just resign, maybe. Try to get him to resign out of fear from the people. Yeah, then the media ran their propaganda and framed it how they wanted to. And then we got 3.5 years of Russia. You've also got from Just the News, the Flynn case bombshell. FBI analysts bought insurance, fearing they'd be sued for misconduct. Says, we all went and purchased professional liability insurance. One analyst texted on January 10, 2017, just 10 days before Trump took office. Holy crap, a colleague responded, all the analysts too? Yep. The first analyst said all the folks at the agency as well. Can I ask who are the most likely litigators? A colleague responded, as far as potentially suing y'all? Who knows? I think the concern when we got it was that there was a big leak at DOJ, and the New York Times, among others, was going to do a piece. The original analyst texted back. Yeah, it could have, like I said, it could have boomeranged back right onto them, and that's why they all bought this insurance, because they knew it was bogus. They knew. They rushed to get that insurance. We got a federal judge. This is pretty much just what's coming from CNN. This is like all I could find on them. Any of this stuff, I guess. Federal judge wants to see more evidence on Justice Department's handling of stroke page texts. I mean, we also know that there was a bunch of phones that were just straight up deleted of everything, all pretty much around the same time, that would have given us a ton of evidence into all of this. Into why the Democrats have just been undermining the American election, undermining the American people, and undermining our president. We got Catherine Herridge tweet breaking this. The primary subsource for the Steele dossier was deemed a possible national security threat, plus the subject of 2009 FBI counter-intel probe, according to new records. Those facts were known to Crossfire Hurricane Team in December 2016. Of course they knew. They knew all of it. They knew what they were doing was wrong. They knew they had no evidence. They knew they had no collusion. And they ran with whatever they possibly could. Anything. As we know in one of what Barnett has said, that it was collusion clue. They take one person, they take something, they take another person, they put them together. Hey, they're colluding. Just find a way. Just find a way. Just create a story. Whatever. And that's what the media will do. That's what the mainstream media will do. Or they just won't even say a word on it. We got a Trump campaign statement on the Russia collusion hoax revelations. These new revelations about the FBI's pervasive corruption and extreme politicization on Joe Biden's watch should send shockwaves through our country and the mainstream media. Newly revealed text messages show the FBI agents knew in 2016 what their superiors were doing to Donald Trump and his team was wrong and potentially criminal. Newly declassified information shows that FBI leadership knew in 2016 they were using a bogus dossier manufactured by a former British spy and a suspected Russian agent, but they went ahead with their politically motivated operation to frame the president for collusion anyway. Joe Biden was at the center of this plot, and it appears he directed the FBI to target decorated veteran Michael Flynn with the Logan Act. An unmasking request targeting Flynn was also made in Biden's name on January 12, 2017, the same day that information was illegally leaked to the Washington Post. Biden has never been forced to explain these facts and answer for his role in ensuring President Donald Trump did not enjoy a peaceful transition of power in 2017. Reporters who spend years pushing Russian disinformation should do their job and make Biden answer for what his administration did, which amounts to the biggest abuse of power in American political history. That's from Tim Murtaugh, Trump 2020 communications director. Yeah, I think Biden's got a lot to answer. Obama's got a lot to answer. Bunch of people at the FBI. You know, you got Lisa Page and Peter Strzok. You've got the Clintons. You've got so many people that are involved in this, and it's going to be, we hope, if as long as it gets out, it will be one of the biggest political scandals ever. Take all the Gates and times them by 100, times them by 1,000. But like I said, we'll never see it if Biden wins. We'll never see any of this ever again, and the media will never say a word about it ever again. And on that note, you guys just need to get out there, read articles, get past the headlines, read them, know your information, get out and vote. Because that's all I can really say. Just do your part, be an American citizen. You guys have a good day.